In this episode, I'm talking about something a little different that I haven't talked about in quite some time. If you were to scroll back to the very, very beginning of this podcast, you would find other episodes related to this topic, but I'm going to do it all over again because I'm speaking to it from a different place. So this is something I myself have struggled with in my lifetime. When I was a teenager, I struggled with eating disorder. And it was mostly around restricting. And then later in life, it became more about overeating and emotional eating and binge eating. And mostly it was sugar and, the kind of stuff that you don't want to be binge eating on, right? And so through my lifetime and my healing journey around this, around my body, around food, I've been able to get to a place where I have a good balance and a good relationship with food. I can still go there where I'm at the grocery store and those cookies or the treats or the cakes are like they're looking really good, like mouth-watering. But sometimes I'll let myself have that thing, and then most times I'm asking myself, do I want that, and how is that going to make me feel if I eat that? I know how it makes me feel lethargic. I get a sugar crash. I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel good in my tummy. And, healing a health condition and autoimmune, that also helps because it reminds me that it's more about what you do most of the time, not on occasion. So most of the time, eating consciously is in alignment with where I want to go. So that's what I want to invite you to look at. The reason why I'm talking about this is because I recently did a poll on my Instagram asking what women are struggling with giving. I gave three options. I'm just going to pull this up 1 second here to remind myself what I did. Asking them what they're struggling with. And so the choices were emotional eating, feeding your feelings, adrenal fatigue, burnout, and exhaustion, and depression. Those were the three. And then there was an all the above. And 75% at this point, it's leaning toward all of the above. So I think I'm going to just touch on all three of these for separate episodes because they're all things that women struggle with. And when you're in one of these relationships, it becomes an addictive component as well. And so then you are dealing with one addiction to deal with another. You're developing one addiction to deal with another addiction, if that makes any sense. We're not going to go too far down the rabbit hole, but as a therapist and counselor in my early days of working with clients, I specialized in helping them develop a healthy relationship to food and body and dealing with these emotional binge eating. I worked with a lot of clients with these binge eating restrictive behaviors. I also worked in the fitness industry, and that actually triggered a different eating disorder within me called orthorexia, if you're not familiar with that. That is an unhealthful obsession with healthful eating. And the book that blew my mind, I didn't realize what I had actually gotten myself into, was Orthorexia. There's a book called that. I can't remember the subtitle, but it's basically an unhealthful obsession with healthy eating. And in this day and age, with the trends of all the diets, the healthy eating, the hormones, the supplements, the eat this, don't eat that, eat 500 grams of protein every day, no sugar, no carbs, none of this, it's crazy. And it just can trigger someone who has had that type of history into going into their old behaviors. And so it really takes healing. You have to heal that part of you that, wanted that control, that wants that control. Okay. So this is always about control. When we are emotional eating, we feel out of control. When we are restricting, we are trying to gain some control. And so I spent a lot of time when my kids were little grappling with what I thought was an obsession with health and healthy lifestyle, which it is still very important to me. So I just thought I was just really, 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 really committed and really, really serious. And people that weren't doing what I was doing, they were just lazy and didn't care about their health. And I have a very different view of that now, but I wanted to share this because it has been a huge part of my journey. I mean, the things that I've been through are just, they're on and on and on, and they don't end up coming into the conversations when we're dealing with living in a relationship that is causing deeper levels of trauma and inner chaos. And so then we're trying to find a way to self-soothe in that. So some might go to alcohol, some might go to shopping, some might go to work. So I did a lot of work and trying to achieve and get somewhere all the time. And I still grapple with that. So let's talk about this. So the first thing to understand is that emotional eating isn't really about the food. It's the symptom, and it's about safety. And you're trying to soothe your feelings that are coming up because you don't know what to do with them. A lot of times you're not even in touch with what the feeling is. You're trying to numb out. You're trying to feed your emotions. And instead, what you need to be doing is developing emotional attunement and connection and being in touch with those emotions and knowing how to move them through rather than using food or other things to distract you. Said relationships can do that as well. When you are in a pattern of centering a man, whether it's this relationship or you have a history of centering a man, that is an addictive thing. It is. And you're not going to be able to move through that unless you do that. You heal your shit. In a nutshell, you've got to do that work if you want to stop having to use these vices and these unhealthy ways of being. If you're carrying around extra weight that you know is unhealthy, you're not feeling good about yourself. Maybe you're experiencing health issues and digestive issues because you don't have any control around food. And so I just want to say that it is a very painful thing to be living in, a very painful cycle. And I get it. I've been there. And so that's why I'm doing this episode. So have you ever felt out of control around food? So this might be you start Sunday or Monday morning and you swear you're just going to eat clean, just the protein, the veggies, the whole foods. And then nighttime comes and you start getting those munchies, or you've got cookies or chocolate or candy or chips or things in your cupboard that are whispering your name. They're calling you and you can't distract yourself from it. It's like no matter what you're doing, you can't stop thinking about that cookie or the chocolate or the brownies you baked or whatever. So understand it's not a lack of willpower. It's your nervous system that is in overdrive and you're trying to find ways to recalibrate, to balance. And so you might notice you eat the thing and you momentarily feel some relief or some calm from having that thing. But then what happens is then you beat yourself up, you feel like shit, you promise to restrict, or you might even restrict, you go back to, not eating or skipping meals to compensate for what you ate the day before or what you ate the meal before. This is a disordered relationship to food because there has to be room for all of it. And I have a whole course on this actually. And it's something that I worked in depth with clients before I started the Awakening Women business. This is exactly what I helped women do, was to overcome adrenal burnout and disordered relationship to food and stress and how it's all interconnected. And I mean, at that time, I wasn't helping women with their relationships, but a lot of times they were in unhappy relationships. We'll put that as a side note, which is what drove me to this direction. So here's what emotional eating can look like, especially if you've experienced trauma. There is a link between childhood trauma, childhood abuse, adverse child events, ACEs, and that you can do that score. You can go online and figure out what your score is. But that's a good way to gauge, how much trauma that you might have stored in your body. And I don't want to go into the trauma rabbit hole of all the things you need to do. My take on it now at this point is that we heal trauma in the present moment through creating new experiences, through paying attention to what's coming up for us and being able to integrate it in, move it through, have the conversation, self-soothe, do something healthier, have a different experience, shift your beliefs. Yes, being in our body to be able to pinpoint where it's coming from. But it's not, because I hear this so much from women. Oh my God, I have so much work to do. I have so much trauma. No, because then your whole life can become about healing your trauma. It's like an identity. I don't want that identity. I don't want that for any woman. I want you to be able to move through it and live the rest of your life free from that weight. And we do that through emotional mastery in the moment to moment emotional mastery and self-connection and self-attunement. All right, so here's what emotional eating can look like is constant grazing to avoid the feeling of emptiness. So you might not even be hungry and you're noticing that you're reaching for food, and then you catch yourself and you're like, what am I doing? I'm not even hungry. I just ate. This is unconscious grazing. This is not, I need a little snack because I'm feeling peckish, or I need a little something before dinner. So you have a little handful of nuts or a piece of fruit or a protein shake to keep you going. That's a different thing. It's the constant need to be eating something to self-soothe, having that hand-to-mouth feeling, like the feeding. It's been connected to lack of nurturing in our infancy, because in our infancy we want to be breastfed as infants, right? It was comforting at that point. And so it's been said that when we are emotional eating, we're just looking for that comfort. So notice if you do that. The second is that you're eating to soothe anxiety or feelings of shame or guilt or boredom or unease or depression, loneliness. There's lots of different feelings that we try to avoid feeling. We don't want to feel them. And so, as I say, we eat them. We feed our feelings rather than feel them. Cravings for sugar or carbs after fights, after flashbacks, after you're ruminating about the last gaslighting attempt and the last argument you had, the conversation that you just had that went sideways, and the feelings that come up as a result. You might find yourself unconsciously staring at the pantry like, what can I eat? Maybe eating handfuls of chocolate chips or just eating everything in there. You might also eat fast, eat secretly so no one sees how much you're eating or what you're eating, and you do that until you feel numb. And so these are just a few of the things, and I just want to say, like, the thing that keeps this pattern going is shame. The way to heal it is to be able to admit it to yourself that you have a problem and it's leading to XYZ, right? An addiction is when we can see it is impacting one or more areas of our life. This is how we determine if someone has alcoholism, but we can also use it to determine other addictions, like relationship addictions, emotional addictions. How many areas of my life is this impacting? So that's a question you can ask yourself. Is it impacting your health? Is it impacting your weight or inability to lose weight? Are you overweight into a dangerous zone? The way that I look at that is your waist circumference. That's the one, ladies, we want to make sure that we are, the averages that I've seen different things online, but some say 31 inches, some say under 35. Your waistline should be within those ranges. And if it's over that, you could be putting yourself into that pre-diabetic state, insulin resistance, and all the heart disease and diabetes and things that can follow from that, which we don't want. And so you have to look at that. What other areas is it impacting? So have an honest look at that for yourself. So just remember, it's not about the food. It's about the feelings that you feel like you can't feel or express. Feelings that you weren't allowed to express, such as anger, sadness, or fear in your childhood and even now in this relationship. Or if you're out of the relationship, you could still be grappling with this. You had to survive. It's worked, right? Your body had to find an outlet for these emotions. And food's always there for you. It's socially acceptable to go buy the donuts or the cookies or the cakes at the grocery store. You can have those things in your cupboard. But it's really important to look at, what is the impact of this doing to me? Is it keeping me isolated because I don't want to go out with friends because I don't feel good about my body? Is it keeping me in this relationship because I think no one else is going to want me because of how I look, or I'm not feeling good about my body? We have to look at the impact. It does impact self-esteem to be doing these things in secret and in hiding. And so one of the things that you can start by asking, and this is the question that I always have clients go to when they're about to eat outside of times of meals, or eat things that in large quantities that they know that are not in alignment with where they want to go. I always say, where do you want to go? How do you want to feel? How do you want to look? And what activities and ways of being are going to get you to that outcome. And so if you know you're going to go buy a big slab of brownies, or you're craving something, you can ask yourself, what do I really need right now? What do I need? What do I need? And it's often a deep core need, an emotional need. And so if you are struggling with this and you want some support and guidance, I offer this in my Whole Woman coaching. So this is my one-on-one coaching packages that I now have available that is outside of the realm of just focusing on narcissistic abuse, because while it is important and I still have my End the Cycle course you can grab, I'm not coaching on that anymore one-on-one. And so if you are ready to be healing and dealing with this kind of stuff, maybe you're still in the relationship, but you're ready to deal with the other things in your life that are problematic, because in the end, you can only read so much about narcissistic traits to know you're in one. You're in denial, right? It's not that you're that you don't know enough, it's that you're in denial about what you know. This is the reality, right? And we talk ourselves out of it and we go eat the donuts instead. And so I encourage you to look at the reality and the truth of your situation and how many different ways that this relationship is spilling into health issues, weight issues, relational issues, career issues, your ability to excel in your career, your business, make the money you want to make, your parenting. I want you to get honest with yourself. So this is just one of the symptoms, which is emotional eating and binge eating and using food as your drug. You have to be honest with what's not working in order to be able to change it. And so if that is something that you're ready for and you want the deep level support, as I said, I have 13 years of working with women, and 6 of those were spent in a one-on-one private counseling practice, helping women with exactly this. And it has come up in my work with women as we're coaching about their relationships, and they realize they have completely abandoned themselves. They're not happy with themselves. They have a lot of pounds to release. And so then through the work, we start setting fitness goals and wellness goals so that they can start building that self-confidence to get out. And so yes, it can be done while you're in it, but I'm not interested in coaching anymore on the signs and symptoms and are you experiencing it and all of that. I have a course for that. So if you're in that place, then definitely get the course to deal with that aspect. But if you're wanting support around the other pieces that are about healing you, then you can certainly apply for one-on-one coaching with me. And that's what I wanted to share with you in this episode. I hope it's been helpful. Maybe it's been uncomfortable or a little bit of a wake-up call, or you're like, I didn't even think about this being connected, or, just hearing that it's been a struggle of mine, and also it's a struggle for a lot of other women, and they're dealing with it in silence, which leads to shame. And remember, we've talked about this, that shame is the lowest level emotion that we can feel. And so when we're operating from that place, we will have depression, we will have health issues, we won't go after the things that we really want. And the shame feeds the cycle of the behavior, because we feel the shame, and so we don't want to deal with how that feels, and so we go to our vice. We go to the thing that helps us numb out and not feel it. All right, I'll chat with you in the next one. Bye for now.